gathered tonight, our country is being destroyed more from the inside than out. America is on the edge of an abyss, and our movement is the only force on earth that can save it. This movement right here.
If you were at CPAC this week, you'd think our country is on the brink of total ruin. Only 19 months since the January 6th attack on the Capitol, former President Donald Trump, his MAGA allies, and those who want to inherit his movement are leaning into violent rhetoric to whip up their followers once again. Their cause? The supposed liberal threat against America. And they say they're the only ones who can save it. Take a listen.
In the Senate every day, I represent 30 million Texans, and my job, it's like the old Roman Coliseum, where you slam on a breastplate and you grab a battle axe and you go fight the barbarians. And as they say in the military world, it is a target-rich environment.
Let that sink in. In the military world, a target-rich environment. Even after 19 children and 2 teachers died in Uvalde in his home state of Texas, Ted Cruz still calls for the violent targeting of his opponents. It should also come as no surprise that the Friday night keynote speaker at CPAC was none other than Steve Bannon, who seems to think that using force is how America should settle its political differences, calling on fellow Republicans to send, quote, shock troops to Washington.
We are at war. We're at a political and ideological war. You can say anything else you want about it, but we're at war.
Once seen as a political sideshow, Rolling Stone writes that CPAC has now become manifestly dangerous, more fascist than farce, and it is giving MAGA supporters a militaristic frame for their charge to the front lines of America's culture wars. Joining me now for more is the former chair of the RNC and MSNBC contributor, Michael Steele. He's also a friend with whom I've had the pleasure of actually spending a decent amount of time over the last few days. Michael, thanks for joining me this morning. You know, Michael, the speakers at CPAC are calling for a violent confrontation, and not just in words, right, between their followers and those with whom they disagree. Considering the fact that there's been this mainstreaming of extremist groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, how dangerous is this rhetoric?
Well, Katie, first let me say it's been a real treat spending some time with you, catching up a little bit, and good to be with you this morning. I think the framing of this is just right as to the way the Rolling Stone put it. It is more fascism than farce. It is more concern than conservatism. And it really is about how we as citizens respond to this, how we push back against it. We are not opponents of each other. We may disagree from time to time on big and small issues, but our first inclination as Americans is not to go and beat the crap out of a neighbor because they have a yard sign that we don't like, or they're standing in the grocery store talking to friends about a candidate that they like that we don't. This is not the America that these folks are projecting, that they want. I mean, this is all what you've heard is sheer projection from Trump, from Bannon, from Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, just sit the hell down, please. Stop it. You're not serving the people of Texas. You haven't done that since you've been there. The reality of it is, but you find the grift, you find the hot rhetoric, you make yourself seem like you're the big man on campus that can get things done. But that's not what this is about. This is not about getting things done. This is about setting us up. And so I think there's some real concern here for us as we go into the fall elections, these MAGA maggots that are being placed in positions to own, to have seats of power, from running elections to governing states. These are things that we need to get serious about as a country and understand what's right in front of us. Again, you've heard it said many times, if they tell you who they are, believe them. Why would you think anything else after hearing what you've heard from these people this past week?
You know, Michael, one of the major goals of the 1/6 investigation is to not only investigate, but to ensure that the violence that we saw at the U.S. Capitol that day doesn't happen again. Is the failure of the GOP to disavow the violence, the violent rhetoric, and the violence itself proof positive that the means justifies the ends for today's GOP?
Yeah, I think in many respects it's that, and it's also I think a general lack of political resolve to deal with these individuals. You know, in the past, when the John Birch Society tried to rear its head inside the GOP in the late 50s and 60s, the leadership of the party said, "Oh, hell no, we're not doing this." No. And they shut it down. They cut it off. What you see now is just a full embrace of it by their silence. So the individuals like a Liz Cheney who stands up and goes, wait a minute, time out. This is not what we're about. This is not who we are as citizens. I'm ready to go toe to toe with Democrats across the aisle on health care and the economy. But I'm not going to go take up arms against them because we disagree. That's not what democracy is supposed to do. And the fact that the leadership in the Senate and the House won't do that, the fact that you have leaders in the Senate and the House who will speak privately, Katie, about these things and, gnash their teeth and wring their hands and go, oh, me, oh, my, what do? We can't stand this privately. They won't go in front of a bank of microphones and condemn it. So what is the general expectation on the outcome on the other side here? It's like an undisciplined child. At some point, that child gets big enough and old enough that when you try to discipline it, it's too late. It's too late. So you might as well just start, getting ready for law enforcement to get involved. You might as well get ready for hospital calls to become a part of your life because you've created a narrative and a situation for that child that now with unchecked behavior, without appropriate discipline, without informing them intelligently about their behavior and how to behave and how not to behave, they think they can get away with anything and do anything. And that is where we find this GOP.
You have to make a pretty big assumption that they care enough to want to care, that they want to learn.
There is that.
And then, frankly, maybe we just shove them in reform school and throw away the key. Michael Steele, MSNBC contributor, former chair of the RNC, and more importantly, my friend. Thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate it.
All right, Katie, take care.